this franchise into the park as a haunted house?
Many years. I think the first treatment we ever wrote that was still just stayed in treatment form, I think, was in 2007. Um, and yeah, every year it's always in our bubble of items that we want to bring to the guests. And then up until this year, every year until this year, it has been about, the cards just didn't hit the table right. But this year we dealt the hand and it was in. And being a huge fan of the franchise, but also of John Carpenter's original film, yeah, it's been something we wanted to do forever. And again, I think what I said before, it's also selfish reasons, just to get it in the event, so that I can walk through the living room and get attacked by Michael Myers. So yeah, there's definitely fanboy excitement behind the decision to do Halloween and Halloween Horror Nights 24.
Mike, how's the fact that it's been done in Hollywood informed what you guys do in terms of a creative process?
They did it very well in Hollywood. So knowing that it works as a haunted maze, I mean that's number one, because I think that's the first step whenever we're trying to choose a property to expand on in our event, is does it work as a maze, as a haunted attraction? John Murdy, good friend, he did an amazing job the year they put that maze up, and but mainly informed that it works. Creatively, the film is the film, so there are moments that mirror both parks the way we did it, but architecturally it's a completely different maze, mainly because it has to be, because where they build it in Hollywood is different than where we build it here. And then it's a different audience as well, I think, that visits Orlando Park versus the Hollywood. So having done this for 24 years, we do kind of apply our own creative aesthetics, knowing the pace at which the maze needs to operate, the number of scares that we feel are necessary as a guest is going through. And there are some differences between the two parks and the creative. The one room I think that stands out the most is where you're kind of literally surrounded by Myers, in the one space. I don't believe Hollywood did that room. And then our facade is very different than what's in Hollywood. The projection we did, the digital mapping we did on the front of the facade to show Judith's kill, and then the facade breaks open and Myers' face appears between the two windows. So yeah, just little things that we can kind of bring to play, knowing that it works so well someplace else. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can talk about the attention to detail, because I noticed that you guys included the Howard the Duck comic book on the couch, which is in the film, and only nerds will get that. So
there's amazing attention to detail.
Yeah.
And having gone to both of them, obviously, this is like the interactive experience of the film. And you go literally chronologically through all the kills and the attention to detail. I mean, there are things in there that I didn't even know, but the diehard fans are going to recognize it and really appreciate it.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about this property that has excited people so much so many years after it was originally released? The response is overwhelming to this house this year.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, he's become such an icon, Michael Myers, and having gone to many conventions and the Universal parks, and just seeing how much fun people have with him, which sounds weird, but he's just become such an icon. It's just great to see, and because obviously he's tied so closely to Halloween, it's just a natural fit, and I think every year people want to revisit it, and I think that's really a lot of the strength of its longevity.
One thing too, I think, as a fan watching the movie, or even like how I rewatched Halloween 4 a couple nights ago, and the one thing that I react to, and my wife said the same thing, is the presentation of the Halloween holiday in those films is different than it is today, and I think that's something that you could kind of key into as well. The aesthetics of Halloween at the time when these films were created is different than Halloween night today, and that's what I react to sometimes. Is just the aesthetics there, just kind of. It's like a warm blanket. It's really nice look, the fall look. The fact there's a bunch of people out in the streets trick or treating, toilet paper going through trees, and you just don't really find that as much today with with Halloween night. So for me, it kind of takes me back to as a kid, with the plastic costumes and the the plastic mask with the elastic strap, and you don't have that
Touching
anymore.
on that, I mean, there was a point when the film originally came out, Halloween wasn't celebrated all around the world, in very few places actually. And the film and the franchise has kind of, in its own little way, sort of introduced that holiday all over the world. So whatever little part it's done in that has been fun to watch as well, because now it's like literally, well, this print we're going to see today is now, we're on about 1,000 theaters all over the world this Halloween night. So I mean, places like Finland and Austria and Spain and South America, and so a lot of places where it's just Halloween isn't a thing, it's now becoming a thing.
With the success of the maze, do you think that this can pave the way for future mazes based on the entire franchise? Because I know you can only focus on just the first film, but there's a wealth of stuff you can be inspired by.
Absolutely. Yeah, if things work out and we're able to, and being a fan, there's no question. If it fit the event, whatever year as we're going forward, yeah, that'd be amazing to touch on the other films. Get some Thorn aspect in the maze a little bit. I think that, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, as long it fits the event, it fits the aesthetic. It's a resounding success this year. There's no reason why, a couple years down the road we decide to want to revisit Haddonfield. That'd be very cool. I'd go in a heartbeat.
Obviously, the maze focuses mostly on the first film, but I noticed there was a few nods thrown into Season of the Witch.
Yeah.
Now, is that a personal favorite of yours and the designers? Or?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The Season of the Witch. I love because again I saw all this stuff on VHS. And again, being selfish, this is my first time actually seeing Halloween on a movie screen, so I'm
Mine as
stoked. Yeah, Halloween 3 it's a great movie. The story is awesome. I mean, how devious and maniacal a company has to be to produce masks that when a commercial's viewed on a certain night is going to literally decay and deform, and bugs and snakes are going to fly out of these kids' faces. It's an awesome concept. So yeah, it really was a matter of logistics. We had, if you've been through the maze, there's an area where you walk in between two homes, and there's Michael Myers is everywhere in this maze. So anytime we could try and figure out another way to scare the guests that had a visual impact that was different than Myers, we wanted to look to. So we decided, yeah, let's go ahead and pop two of the Halloween 3 trick-or-treaters into the maze as just two quick scares. And then there's one more homage in the living room where Thing from Other World's playing, but then if you catch it just right, it offsets with the Halloween 3 Shamrock commercial.
I walked right in there when the Shamrock commercial.
Yeah.
That jingle does
It's
not
every
make
now
your
and
head
then.
go
It's not. Yeah, it's every now and then. But if you catch it, it's a cool moment when you're walking through, kind of bridging the two films together just for a couple seconds.
Malek, what's your favorite part of the maze?
Oh, wow. I was blown away by so much of it, but I really had fun with the car, the kill of Annie, because I was not expecting that at all. And I've seen the maze like in LA and other incarnations, but when I saw the car in there and that kill, that was awesome.
Yeah, and the two girls that play Annie, they're amazing. They're just on it all the time. We can actually track the amount of times the triggers hit per hour, per night, and they are the most in the entire maze. The amount of times they're hitting that trigger to get the effect to occur. Yeah, those girls, they love that role. And they're contained inside this car all night, and they love it. It's great.
It's great.
It might be a little more technical, but how long is that house? Because it feels really, really long for that location.
It is on par with the amount of scenes we have and the linear feet. I mean, a house length is typically an average of like 370 to 400 linear feet from the time you walk in the front door to the time you leave, and it falls in that range. What makes it different than, like, let's say a Walking Dead or maybe a From Dusk Till Dawn in the layout is everything's really the one thing we made sure, because we knew Myers had to affect you in a very close proximity. That's how it was going to work. We want to make sure that you're winding through this. Like, if you look at a ground plan of the tent, I mean, it is the most compacted path I think we've done in a tent in a long time. And that was key into the construction and how we knew we wanted the guests to be affected by Myers. So actually, it's just as long as like Dollhouse of the Damned or or Roanoke, but because it's so compact, it feels longer. And I think just the nature of knowing that you're enveloped by this brand so much, I think subliminally you're enjoying it a lot more because it's something you know, and a lot of fans have wanted to walk through for a long time. So I think there's a subliminal aspect there too, where you don't want to leave when it's over. You just kind of want, can I just stay here for a little while longer? That would be really cool.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I was watching The Town That Dreaded Sundown recently, which is not a great movie by any means, but it got me to thinking that, like, while Halloween is sort of like the cornerstone of the slasher genre, like, all these elements have appeared in other places and sort of built up to that. So I'm just curious, like, you know, what are some touchstone, like, slasher movies that inspire both of you guys, or, you know, some of the things you've produced that you know, later on sort of updated or progressed the genre forward?
Well, slasher genre, yeah, I really enjoyed Town That Dreaded Sundown. I saw that after I saw Halloween as a kid, and that trombone kill is like, it's ridiculous, but it's also very off-putting at the same time. But yeah, that character that has a lot of aspects. I think the thing that makes Halloween what it is how smart that film was shot, the aesthetics that it provides. The fact that I think there's only 2 scenes that has even a couple drops of blood in it. Judith's kill, and I think the mechanic when Michael steals the car in the sheets in the side of the road. There's only two areas where there's blood shown in the movie. I think what separates a lot of slasher films from Halloween is you also care about the characters that are getting killed. Or Laurie Strode, you care about her. The amount of setup time. And a lot of films have tried to replicate it, and I don't think they have nearly as well as Halloween has. Is the amount of time we get to spend with those characters before Halloween night and all of these horrors occur. That was a brilliant kind of timing. The fact that the score is very powerful, and again in its simplicity. And I also think it's powerful too because the types. I'm gonna get geeky music-wise right now. The time signature is very unique. It's a 5/4 time signature that is very unique to yes, yeah, and I think that impacts that movie a great deal. And yeah, are there slasher films that have either come before Halloween or have been inspired by Halloween? Yeah, but in my opinion, I don't think anyone's ever done it better than that original film, and then building on that from there. It really is it's a touchstone.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the original is the standard that we all go by, and in the series, there's been high points and, let's say, lesser points. And then, when the idea came around to do the remake, which was like almost sacrilege to a lot of people, but it was an inevitability. At some point, when we got together with Rob to do it, we sort of specifically wanted it not to be compared to Carpenter's. We wanted Carpenter's to stay the classic that it is. And so the beauty of the character Michael Myers is that it's been able to be interpreted by a lot of different filmmakers, and everyone's kind of put their own spin on it, and it luckily survives that in a way through all the different incarnations. But it's just been a joy to work with so many creative people on this 10 films, and yet we're working on 11 as we speak. So that's really been the joy for me, to just been to work with so many great people, and it's been the start of so many people's careers, great filmmakers and actors, and so yeah, it's been great.
Since you bring up the 11th film, is there any updates you could give us on the development, where it is in the development process?
We are working on a script right now, and actually the new draft, perfect timing, is supposed to hit my desk the day before Halloween. So hopefully my Halloween night reading will be a very good read.
We hope so too.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Is it true that Mike Aiello is going to play the Shape?
Yes. He doesn't know yet, but he is, yes.
I wouldn't mind a cameo.
You got it.
Anything else?
No.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Good time.
Yeah.